Alrighty, welcome back to WWE 2K26. Last time we took care of The Rock, now we gotta take care of Brock Lesnar.
I don't know about you, but I feel a lot better. Beating The Rock and regaining the WWE title just feels right, doesn't it? Unfortunately, there's still one more stop on the 2013 Redemption Tour. After my WrestleMania 29 loss to The Undertaker, I took a few months off to heal. Paul Heyman saw this as something vindictive. He took my absence as betrayal, and before I knew it, I was being attacked by his old pal, Brock Lesnar. Brock got involved in business that wasn't his, and I knew a match with no disqualifications was my best shot to even the odds. I would have walked away with the win, but I couldn't resist getting my hands on Heyman, which gave Brock the opening he needed.
Brock Lesnar has beaten CM Punk.
It was a brutal encounter, but if you keep your eye on the prize, you'll avoid taking a trip to Suplex City. Dish out some punishment to Paul if you get the chance, but walking out of SummerSlam 2013 with the win is the main goal. Don't make the same mistake I did.
So yeah, this is back at SummerSlam 2013, where he took on Brock Lesnar in a no disqualification match. On the grounds of, in true, managerial fashion. Hey man, I'm done with you representing me because of XYZ. The manager's like, oh, you can't make me any more money. See you, bye, don't want anything to do with you. So, here's my new client. And, he's gonna whoop you. After a handful of, back and forth matches between the two. Well, not matches, because Brock Lesnar at this point was basically on a limited appearance deal, or a legend deal, as they call it, where he shows up maybe 12 times a year, average once a month, to do whatever it is they need him to do. And it's typically one match every, quarter. 1 month every 3 months. Yeah. That match every 3 months. Typically at one of the big four pay-per-views, maybe a B-tier pay-per-view that they need to sell tickets for, because people would buy tickets to see Brock Lesnar. And that's really it. So, Brock Lesnar, super athlete. NCAA Division I heavyweight champion, multiple world heavyweight champion, I believe the youngest WWE champion in the company. He won it at 22, it was 21 or 22 when he won the belt for the first time. And in 2002, during the first brand split, he was the undisputed champion. Now, how the championship was supposed to work is he was meant to defend it across both brands, both Raw and SmackDown. So the initial plan, and I'm using heavy quotes around plan, was the world champion would not be assigned to a brand, and same with the tag champion. They would work both the brands, and the only exclusive title was, there were two exclusive titles. That was the mid-card title, which was the Intercontinental and the U.S. Championship. IC was on Raw, U.S. was on SmackDown. And then you had another exclusive championship in Raw had SmackDown, since I started there. SmackDown had the Cruiserweight Championship, and Raw had the Women's Championship. And eventually, in storyline-wise, Brock Lesnar signed an exclusive deal with SmackDown, meaning he could only perform on SmackDown. So, Raw needed to come up with a solution to get a champion on their brand. So, thinking quickly, Eric Bischoff put the world title onto the number one contender, who conveniently happened to be from Raw, Triple H. Brock Lesnar eventually left WWE in 2000 at WrestleMania 20. Right after WrestleMania 20, he left to attempt to pursue a career in the NFL. Ended up, I think, signing with the Minnesota Vikings, but I don't believe he played on the team. Maybe he was practice squad, but I digress. Eventually, he went to the UFC and would win their would win their super heavyweight championship. So on there, he would win and hold the belt for for a hot minute before eventually having to drop the belt because he had contracted a bout of diverticulitis, which is a nasty disease. Well, eventually he battles and gets cleared with that, can't go to MMA, can't really continue his MMA career, so in 2012 he comes back to the WWE and takes on John Cena. He takes on John Cena at Extreme Rules. Cena wins because it's 2012 Cena, and he needs the win. And then he kind of disappears for a little bit, comes back up, uses Triple H for a little bit, disappears, before eventually winning the WWE Championship from John Cena at the SummerSlam after that in 2014, where is sort of where his phrase Suplex City somewhat began. And I say somewhat because it wasn't until 2015, WrestleMania 31, where the phrase Suplex City would be coined. He was facing Roman Reigns in a match, obviously, in the main event of WrestleMania. He had suplexed him a handful of times, and he then said the phrase Suplex City. So he said that phrase, and it took off. Immediately was put on t-shirts, and any appearance he made, you would get your t-shirt that said Suplex City, and then whatever city they were in at the time. Like, so it was like Suplex City, Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he's from. I have one that says Orlando, Florida, from a Raw I went to that he was at. And so that's what it was. And after that, so it was like, that's what started Suplex City, was that match with John Cena the next year, but it wasn't coined until the following WrestleMania. He would eventually challenge Bill Goldberg for another title run, because at WrestleMania 20, before he walked out, well, not walked out, before he left WWE, they had put it up that they were going to do Goldberg versus Brock one-on-one WrestleMania, but then word had got out that both guys were leaving after Mania, so the crowd was just very much bland and angry, because this is supposed to be these two guys who, these are two big dudes, they just want to beat each other up, and a lot of their matches are squashes, and it's just, how fast is the match going to be? And they're like, yeah, no, here's the match right before both guys are leaving. So fast forward, Goldberg would eventually come back, face Brock Lesnar in a match at Survivor Series, squash them. It would then not be until WrestleMania 33 where Brock Lesnar would beat Goldberg in a match for the Universal Championship, and then it disappeared from the company like a lot of the world titles Brock won. He'd win it, it would disappear, and then the internet would cry and complain, but then he'd come back and he'd be feared, so there was really no winning. Let's go for the roll-up, even though I don't want to, because I want to do these stinking tasks so I can get all the arenas, all the attires, because I like all of it. Got it! There we go. Alright, let me grounded submission. There we go. A good old triangle. This won't do any good anyway. Oh, got the damage done, so that's good. What? Oh, okay. Low blow. Yeah! That took care of that. Now for a GTS, which is probably gonna, yep.
And remember, guys, this is the no disqualification match. Park looking to put it away with a GTS to Lesnar. Lesnar's down.
recently. Now he does it again, breaking up a sure victory for CM Punk, and now Punk has lost the plot.
Heyman looks like he's about to soil himself. It's about self-preservation for Heyman.
Self-preservation is easy when you have the Beast incarnate backing you up.
What for the F5, but what a counter by Punk into a DDT. Cover now for the win over Lesnar and a kick out.
A late kick out, and Paul Heyman can't believe it, but now straight into the Anaconda Vice grip.
Punk squeezing with all of his might, trying to put down the Beast. And Heyman again.
But just when it looked like a tap-out was imminent from Brock Lesnar, Heyman involved in proceedings and gets peppered from CM Punk.
And Punk now finally taking his frustrations out on Heyman with the Anaconda Vice in front of the chair.
Paul Heyman paying dividends right there for Brock Lesnar, the distraction enough to give the Beast the impetus to take control once again with that chair.
Not done yet. Lesnar won't be done until Punk is completely destroyed.
And it looks like that moment is imminent, Corey.
Lesnar's shoulders. Brock Lesnar marching around the ring. Oh, it delivers an F5 out of the chair.
Well, also another thing that Brock Lesnar is known for was he ended The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak at WrestleMania 30, which basically shocked the entire wrestling world because, well, nobody had done it, and I'm pretty sure I did talk about this during the CM Punk Undertaker match, so, yeah, we're gonna call it there with that. Other than that, there's not really much else to say about Brock Lesnar recently. He's been kind of slowly on his way out, and as of the time I'm recording this, hit him with another low blow. At the time of recording this, he basically left his boots and gloves in the ring after WrestleMania 42 when he took on Obafemi, and that's basically I believe he is done with wrestling and is basically going to move on. But now that that's taken care of, we righted this wrong, which we've been doing a lot recently. So, that being said, next time we'll be doing whatever the next match happens to be. Oh, that's right. I believe it's McIntyre versus Punk at Hell in a Cell. And that was that's the most recent match prior to the prologue. Later.